Good morning, folks. What's up? This is Michael on the graveyard shift in the wee hours of the night, getting your day started once again with the brand new trivia question. Is it Friday yet? Not quite, but we're almost there, so we'll just keep on going until we do get there. So the answer to the previous trivia question was, of course, Section 3 of the 25th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Now, the 25th Amendment was an effort to resolve some of the continuing issues revolving about the office of the presidency. More specifically, what happens upon the death, removal, or resignation of the president, and what is the course to follow exactly if for some reason the president becomes disabled to such a degree that he cannot fulfill his responsibilities. A lot of this these questions were unanswered. Congress finally passed this amendment dealing very specifically with secession. Okay, and like I said, there was some voids, there were some gaps to fill here. And they passed this in the aftermath of President Kennedy's very sudden and unexpected, obviously, assassination. I believe that was 1964, was it? With the vice presidency at that time vacant when Johnson took over, and Johnson's health wasn't all that to begin with. If my research serves me correctly, he had had a heart attack prior to this anyhow. So they got together and they were like, something needs to be done. A very specific order of secession and rules and regulations and protocols and procedures and so forth need to be established. So on this date in history, in 2002, focus of the trivia question, President George Bush used the 25th Amendment to transfer power very briefly to his vice president, Dick Cheney, while he underwent a medical procedure by way of Section 3 of the 25th Amendment, which states, quote, whenever the president transmits his written declaration that he is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, and until he transmit to them a written declaration to the contrary, such powers and duties shall be discharged by the vice president as acting president. So that's exactly what took place. They followed it to the letter of the T. Dick Cheney held the power of the president of the United States for only 2 hours and 15 minutes. That's all the procedure took. However, President Bush was incapacitated. He was under anesthesia when he took the procedure. So they had to invoke Section 3 of the 25th Amendment. At the time, this is really cool history. Check this out. At the time, the only other time Section 3 of the 25th Amendment had been used was when Ronald Reagan had a same related procedure, colon surgery, and transferred his powers to the first Bush. This happened in 1985. So that was Bush's father. So there was an element of both Bushes being involved in this history. The president must notify the House Speaker and the President pro tem of the Senate in writing when he transfers power and when he resumes it. In this occasion in 2002, Bush and his cabinet sent a fax. They just faxed it over. I'm transferring power to Dick, and I'll fax you back when. Now I could see like a disaster this occurred, like when like everybody's sitting around over at the Capitol waiting for the fax to come back, and nobody's like changed the printer cartridge in the fax machine or something like that. I could just, golly. 2002, we were using fax. I just somehow think there was better ways of doing that in 2002. But anywho, I digress. A couple of cool geek factoids. The official version of what happened during Cheney's 2 hours and 15 minutes of fame as the most powerful man in the world, he had a couple of intelligence briefings and staff meetings, which I'm sure took 2 hours and 15 minutes in and of itself. He was probably like, golly, is this what we do all day long? A bunch of staff meetings and briefings. I'm more than happy to give this back. Anyhow, I digress again. It was not invoked when Reagan was shot in 1981, believe it or not, and he underwent more than 3 hours of surgery, as we all know from research and from history. And I found a lot of talking heads and research and articles and so forth back then when that occurred as to people who were saying they cannot understand why the 25th Amendment Section 3 was not invoked at that time. But it wasn't. I thought that was just amazing to find out when researching this trivia question. And finally, a recent and very historical third time, I thought this is amazing. Section 3 of the 25th Amendment has been used, was as early as November of last year when Biden transferred power to Kamala Harris. Yes, indeed, that very much did happen. The temporary delegation of power to Harris made her, for the first time, the first female acting president in U.S. history. That is pretty cool. And this was for a colonoscopy. The colonoscopy seems to be, the second element that's, that resonates through Section 3, 25th Amendment. I mean, go figure. Biden resumed his role as president before noon. So apparently it's a pretty easy procedure, but you do get put under anesthesia and you have to transfer that power. Those are the rules of the land, folks. Pretty cool stuff. All right, folks, moving our week right along with a brand new trivia question. Last day of June. Let's get ready for July. Let's get through this day first, though, for June 30th. On this day in 1906, U.S. Congress passes the Meat Inspection Act and the Pure Food and Drug Act, laws that came about as a result of the work by journalist Upton Sinclair, detailing the accounts of harsh working conditions surrounding manufacturing in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. His book was called This. You know where you are? Have a good day, folks. Peace out.